Hi, my name is Chris Shelton with Shelton Qigong. Qigong is a simple practice that empowers people in particular to be able to deal with daily emotions that we have to deal with, not only day-to-day stuff, but also past trauma as well. Today's topic is grief, sorrow, disappointment, and loss. What do you do when you lose somebody in your life? A loved one, a pet, somebody close to you. What do you do with all that grief? And what's interesting in Chinese medicine, they actually say that the lungs store the negative emotions of grief, sadness, sorrow, and disappointment. And it's interesting, if you're somebody that just lost somebody, for example, and you all of a sudden develop an unproductive dry cough, that unproductive dry cough is not asthma, it's not anything else. What it is that it's the grief that's actually been stuck. But because of the close proximity of the heart and the lungs together, we're going to be doing a sound practice with a moving practice today to help to alleviate this vibrational charge inside the body. All of us have to face difficulties in our life. All of us have to face loss. But the key with Qigong is to be able to tell people, or to be able to show people that yes, you go through the loss, but instead of just storing those issues inside your tissues, which then manifests as disease later on, what we're doing is that we're going to show you something that to help you get rid of it right away. Okay. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to start off with in our Wuji posture, with our feet out about shoulders width apart, knees slightly bent. We're going to tuck the sacrum underneath, tip the tongue, gently curled to the roof of the mouth as if saying the letter N. We're going to tuck the chin, press up on the crown point. If you're seated or if you're in a wheelchair, do it with your hands resting on your legs, either face down or face up. Still the same thing, still tuck the chin if you can, pressing up at the crown point and the top of the head. Tip the tongue to the roof of the mouth behind the teeth. So this first practice that we're going to give you is the lung clearing exercises, because once again the lungs are said to be affected most greatly by sadness, grief, sorrow, and disappointment, and any kind of loss. Okay, so starting off first with pulling down the heavens, inhale. Grabbing the energy from the divine, your higher power, your higher creator, exhaling. Allow for that white light to flow down through the body, through the tissues, and deep into the ground. Inhale. Exhale. So with each pull, you feel yourself becoming more centered, calmer. Allow for the divine energy, the white light, to flow through the tissues and deep into the ground. And then from there, what's going to happen is that you're going to relax the shoulders, bringing the hands in front of the chest, and then we're going to begin by inhaling, exhaling, inhale. Very simple practice here. And notice how, as my arms open up, my chest opens up. The lung acupuncture meridian actually runs from here, down through here, through the thumb, and actually ends at the end of the thumbs on both sides. So as we're doing this practice, you could actually imagine, as you inhale, white light filling up into the lungs, and imagine the circumstance, the loss, the devastation, as a dark cloud leaving the body, out the tips of the thumb, going out through the lung meridian, going several feet away from the body and down deep into the ground. So inhaling, exhaling through the nose, and making sure to relax the shoulders, relaxing the arms, exhaling, and focus on what the circumstance is. Don't just do the movement. I mean, doing the movement will help benefit the lungs, but I want you to really focus and feel what it is that you're feeling. Who was it? What had occurred? What has it done to your life, to your family, to the friends? You know, so you want to focus on all those attributes. And the little difference here between Qigong and therapy sometimes is, sometimes, with therapy, I've been through therapy, it's a great method, to help to process things that go on in your life, past trauma. But sometimes we pick off that scab without a way to fix a wound underneath. And what Qigong is that we want you to dig up that stuff that's hurtful and that stuff that's painful. And we want you to feel it and to reminisce and pull it up to the surface. Was there any smells associated with that time period? What time of year was it? What was your environment like? Focusing on all that stuff, because as you inhale, pulling the white light in, then as you exhale, you want that turbid toxicity, that vibration to leave the body. So instead of just picking the scab, which picking the scab to me is pulling up the trauma, the loss, the devastation, we want you to pick that up, but we want you also to then, using your mind intent and using the movement, to be able to release that negative circumstance as a dark cloud of energy as it leaves the thumbs, going several feet away from the body and deep into the ground. Once the loss, the devastation is gone, then the positive virtue of courage comes in. Now you have the courage to move forward, to carry on. But the difference now is that you're carrying on without holding on to that negative vibration inside your body. And with each trauma that happens in our life, there's a yin and yang aspect of it. We want to be able to keep the wisdom learned from the trauma, but then let go of the negative vibration that's associated with it, which contributes to disease. Inhale and exhale. Last one. Exhale. We're going to pull the energy in, push the energy down, and finish by pulling down the heavens 3 times. Inhale. Exhaling. Releasing out any vibration, any heat in the body, allowing for that to flow through you as a divine energy, your higher source, your higher creator, then helps to heal the body. And then from there, another practice that we like to give with Shelton Qigong is a practice called the dry cry. Because the heart has its own negative emotion that's associated with it, but I seriously believe that a person can die from a broken heart when they lose somebody close to them. There's been more than one documentation of somebody who's been married for 30, 40 years, etc., and the spouse passes away, and then a few months later, the surviving spouse then passes away from an actual heart attack or something. Because I do believe someone could die from a broken heart. So the heart will take the brunt of all the emotions. The heart will take the brunt of grief and sorrow, and then the heart dictates how much of this energy is going to be expressed or suppressed. And what's even worse is when somebody says, I have to be strong, I just have to push through. God, give me the willpower to just get beyond this time. Yes, have that willpower, but suppression of any emotion is what is the root factor in Chinese medicine of disease. So the healing sound for the heart, I also refer to it as a dry cry, is the sound of ha. So what's going to happen is that you do this out loud or underneath your breath. So if you're in public, I want you to try to underneath your breath. I don't want you to suppress it, wait till you go home to cry or whatever. But doing it underneath your breath will give you a tool immediately to let go of the sorrow. If you get that stuck feeling, in Chinese medicine we call it the plum seed effect, where if you've ever gotten sad and you get that stuck feeling in your throat, then what I tell people to do is lift the chin. As you inhale, pulling in the white light into the heart, into the lungs, then you're going to exhale, and whatever that circumstance was, that trauma, that loss, you're going to imagine leaving the throat as a dark cloud going several feet away from the body and down deep into the ground. Okay? So each of the 5 major organs of the body has its own sound vibration associated with it. The lung sound is actually the sound of as though you're letting air out of a tire. So you could try that practice first, inhaling, pulling the breath into the lungs. And imagine the trauma or the loss as a dark cloud leaving the mouth, going several feet away from the body into the ground. Inhaling. But for me, the most powerful sound that I give to all my clients that have suffered any kind of grief, anxiety, had a loss, a loved one, a child passed away, something that's very, very traumatic in their life, this dry cry sound, which is a ha sound, is a sound that's really, really powerful. So what's going to happen is that you're just going to relax. You're going to inhale, lift the chin, Pull the breath into the heart and into the lungs, and then as you exhale, you're going to imagine that circumstance leaving. So like this, inhaling. Gathering. Inhale. Again, inhale. Now I want you to try it underneath your breath. Inhale. Again, inhale. Again. And as you keep on making the sound, once again what we're doing is we're bringing forth the positive virtue of courage and love. The negative emotion of grief, disappointment, sadness, sorrow is what is leaving. And within that empty space now, that void that's been created, we then pull in the positive virtue of courage to take up that void and then to help the person who's suffering to be able to let go of things easier. And it's not that emotions are bad, and we all have to face things that create pain in our life. But this is a simple practice just to be able to allow you the ability to empower yourself to process through the pain much quicker, as opposed to just suppressing it, moving forward, and then later on disease showing up in your life. So seriously, even if you're in public somewhere and all of a sudden these emotions are starting to well up for you and you're thinking, I just need to pull it together, I got to hold it together or cry later on. No, what you do is that you do the sound ha, H-A-A, like you're laughing, ha ha ha. Do the sound ha underneath your breath. No one will know what you're doing, but instead of suppressing the way that we've been taught, most of us have been taught to, from childhood, and depending on what culture we're from, sometimes suppression is taught even more, instilled even more in us, because we're not allowed to express our emotions. No, instead of suppressing and creating disease and zapping your energy, zapping your life force, let it go. And this is a simple vibrational practice that allows you to let it go. And just like the emotion of sadness and loss and disappointment is a vibration, we're also using vibration in order to create peace and harmony in our life. Thank you for joining me today. I'm Chris Shelton with Shelton Qigong. Qigong is a simple practice with profound results.